Hey there, fellow Homo sapiens. Welcome to my channel. My name is Adrianna, and I'm a 4-subfield anthropologist. I'm hoping over the course of this series to introduce all of you to anthropological theory and methods, as well as how we can actually use an anthropological way of knowing and being in the world to make our lives and the world in general a better place. But of course, the first thing that you're probably wondering is, what is anthropology exactly? So there are as many definitions of anthropology as there are anthropologists. For example, American sociocultural anthropologist Tim Ingold likes to define it as philosophy with the humans put back in, which I really like and I think sounds really cool, but at the same time it's not very exact. When my dad kind of tries to explain to people what I'm studying, he usually says something along the lines of like cultures and dead stuff and maybe some monkeys. But the official definition that we used in my undergrad program at the University of Western Ontario was the study of the many ways of being human in the past, in the present, at home, and around the world. For me, though, I don't think it's useful to find an exact definition of anthropology. To me, anthropology is more than a field. It's a way of thinking, a way of knowing, and a way of being in the world. And I know that probably sounds really intense right now, but I'm hoping that over the course of this series, we'll be able to talk through these things and bring you around to that perspective. Okay, but I mentioned I'm a 4-subfield anthropologist, and you're probably wondering what that means exactly. And in order to explain that, we kind of have to go back in time to the turn of the century and meet this guy called Franz Boas. Franz Boas was a Jewish German immigrant to the United States, and he is considered the father of anthropology in North America. You see, he went up to the Arctic to do his PhD thesis, which was actually in physics, and his thesis was on, if you can believe it, the color of water. Like, that's so cool. Like, maybe I'm a huge nerd, but I just think that's awesome. But the really cool thing is that when he went up to the Arctic, you know, to look at ice and the way that light was refracting off of it and study that, he discovered that while he thought going in, the color of water is in the realm of physics. It's an objective measure. But the color of water is really about how people perceive it. And how people perceive the color of water is affected by all sorts of things, like their cultural background. So now that he was kind of curious and thinking about these things, and with his background in geography as well as physics, he sort of mixed these interests and created the first university department of anthropology in North America at Columbia University. And in this department, he founded it based on 4 subfields: sociocultural anthropology, or the study of society and culture; biological anthropology, or the study of human biology, as well as evolution nowadays; and archaeology, the study of human material culture; and linguistics, so looking at how language interacts with society and culture. And we've continued in North America to follow that pattern today, so we use all 4 subfields. It's really cool and a fun way, and an interesting way to bounce those things off each other. So then, basically, over the course of this series, I would like to introduce you to these 4 subfields and show you how all this different knowledge fits together under one field. Because it probably seems like all these things are coming from different directions and are dispersed ways of thinking. But at the end of the day, there is something that undercurrents all of these subfields. In terms of what we're actually going to talk about in this series, we're going to start off talking about basically the fundamentals of anthropological thought. Then we'll move into a couple of videos on sociocultural anthropology, looking both at past big research questions as well as what people are doing in the field today. Then we'll take a step over to biological anthropology and look at primates, evolution, forensics, osteology, and so much more. After that, we're gonna head into linguistics, which just quick disclaimer, while I deeply love all four subfields, I don't have much official training in linguistics. But we'll definitely bring in some other people to back up my knowledge so that we can get a taste of all four subfields. And then we'll wrap up with archaeology. We'll look at everything from my own research with 500-year-old Arctic foxes from Banks Island, Northwest Territories, to Indiana Jones and the big questions of the human past. So, if you have any questions you would like me to explore in a future video, or just answer in the comments, feel free to comment below or send an email to the email in the description. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. And as Ruth Benedict would say, let's all go make the world safe for human differences.